Moss Adventures and Homesteading. This is Mike. It's been a while since we've done a video. We've had a lot of stuff going on. Vacation, work, homeschooling, and all that fun stuff. But I thought I'd give a little update today on how things are going. I'm also going to get into a DIY project here later of making rabbit cages with mostly pallets. So that'll come up here later, but I want to show some of the things that I've been working on. So one of the projects I worked on today, after getting back from vacation over the weekend, was moving our 3-pallet compost bin. I wanted to move it here, so I'm still near our chicken coop. And then we'll also be putting the rabbit cages over here. And you can see our old tumbling compost bin. This will still be here. I just gotta find some place to put it. And then we also moved this plastic shed that we got for free. I had it facing the other direction, but I wanted to spin it around so then I could put the cages for the rabbits over here out of the wind. And they're kind of shaded most of the day, so the rabbits should really enjoy that. But I'm going to be building that cage here later today. So for this pallet compost bin, I used a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pallets to make it. The first time I built it, they was actually horizontal, but in the space I'm working with here, they would actually stick out into my garden entrance. So I ended up going vertical. First thing I did was I took my stirrup hoe. A lot of people call it different names, but this thing worked really well. I just kind of like dug it in the ground, made sure to kill all the grass and stuff that's there. Mostly what right here was like ground clover, so I did not want it spreading through the compost once I start doing that. And the plus side to having this here is when I clean out the chicken coop, I don't have to go very far to move it. And then I also will have room for the rabbit compost when I get it to put over here and get it ready for the garden. But for being in November now, it's a nice day out here to get some work done. It's in the 60s today, nice and sunny. We're letting our chickens do a little bit of free ranging today in the yard. Of course, got our guard dog over there keeping an eye on everybody. Right, Sadie? Sadie! She does really good with the chickens. Don't you, girl? Usually we'll see her run into the little door into the chicken run and she'll be in there hanging out with them. But yeah, so I got my door open today and the chickens are out enjoying the nice weather. And my next project for today, after building this compost bin, is to go build some rabbit cages that's going to use a lot of pallet wood to help reduce the cost. So that'll be my next part of this video. Alright guys, I've moved into the garage where I'm going to start my projects for the day. I'm going to go through all of my materials that I have laid out. There's some materials that's not in here just because they take up too much room. And I will also show you a drawing of the plants that I'm planning on working with. Alright, so the first main component of this rabbit cage is going to be pallets. So for the main supports, I'm going to be using these boards right here. Those will be the bottoms and the top of the cages, and then along the back I'm going to kind of shingle these boards right here to make the backs waterproof and so they don't get so much wind. Hopefully I have enough pallets here to do them. These was free from a local mom and pop shop. I see people on Facebook trying to sell pallets all the time. There's no reason for you to pay for pallets unless you're wanting like super good quality pallets. Because most of us are just trying to save a buck and recycle something old that's just going to get thrown away anyways. So moving on to some of my next stuff. I got two kinds of screws here. I got some 3-inch screws and some 1 5/8 inch screws. I call these star bit ones. So these are my favorite type of screws to use. Growing up I used to use Phillips and flathead, but you always strip them out, and then when I got older we moved to square head screws, but I didn't care for those either. I always strip them out somehow too. I've had good luck with these, and the plus side is each box comes with a new bit, so I don't have to worry about always losing the bits. Next up, I got these little corner brackets. These came from Walmart. These will be used for the doors on the hutches to give them a little bit more strength and to make sure they stay nice and rigid. I also got 3 2-pack of screw or hinges. They come with screws too, so those are for the doors. And I also got little latches for the doors. I got 4 because they only came in 2 packs, so I'll have 1 extra. We'll see how 1 latch on each cage does. If need be, I can always add another one. I've also bought 8 2x2 by 8 foot long boards. These are untreated. Eventually they might get painted or sprayed with water resistance. Got these from Lowe's. They're about $3.50 each. I don't know how many I'm going to need in total, but I always use 2x2s for everything on the homestead, so having some extras laying around doesn't hurt. I also picked up a pack of wire. So they're 30-inch by 10 foot, 1-inch by 1/2-inch mesh squares. Just big enough so rabbit poop can fall through, and it's small enough that it's good on their feet. This will probably need to be trimmed down, as my cages, I'm only planning on them being 24 inches wide. But this was all they had in stock at my local Tractor Supply store. So, I also have metal roofing. So I got, I think it's 2.3 by 8 foot metal sheathing. It's like $24 at Lowe's. I was able to pick some brand new up on Facebook Marketplace for $10 a sheet. So I got 5 sheets of that, which will be plenty for this project. Some of the tools I plan on using to start off with: a stapler for the wire. I got my old Black & Decker drill with a quick fitting attachment. It's already got a star bit in it. Got my Black & Decker cordless circle saw, a pin, a square, my new favorite brand of tools, Hart. Got a tape measure, and then I also have a miter saw. So it can do longer boards. It's a slide. It's worked well for me. I don't know if I'll need it on this project yet or not, but I got it out just in case. So next I'll show you the plans and a rough draft of kind of what I'm aiming for. Alright guys, so I'm back in here in the kitchen. I'm going to show you a rough draft of what we're planning on building today. We're going to build 3 hutches all together. I'm planning on having them connected. The cages are either going to be 24 or 30 inches wide, 36 inches long, and 18 inches high. This should give us plenty of space for the rabbits to live and be able to breed them. And then eventually I'll have to build a grow out cage for when we start raising the offsprings. So my table's kind of holey and rough. This is a farmhouse table I built. So today I got a book of choice. You can see it a little bit. Minecraft Medieval Fortresses. This is something we're experimenting with our homeschooling. Our kids love Minecraft, so we're going to add some history into it, and we're going to have them build their own fortresses. And then we're going to see whose looks better. So, it's going to be my backdrop for my paper. So what I'm planning, it's like I said, I'm using the main support beams on those pallets, and they're shaped like this. So you got the edges, and they kind of roll up, go back down, and roll up again. So I'm going to be salvaging these boards, and then I'm going to try to salvage as big as I can the long flat boards on the pallet. So this will be used for the back of the cage, and these will be for the top / bottoms. But I'm also going to have the 2x2x4s, 2x2x8, not 4, as substitute boards to help make this a little bit stronger, and they're a little bit easier to work with because none of them are going to be broke, so hopefully everything lines up better. So a rough drawing of what I'm thinking is this is going to be the front of the cage. So this is going to be 36 inches. This is going to be 18 inches high. So I'm hoping that this board, which I haven't measured yet, it's going to be exactly 36. If not, we're going to have to trim it off, so maybe cut a little bit off here or here. I haven't decided how I'll do it. But here will be the front. You'll have the board down here at the bottom, and then up top I will also put it facing the same direction. And then these will be 2x2 supports on the edges. Then I will probably also need, wherever I decide to put the door, so I'll probably put the door probably about here. So we'll just draw like a little door, and then I'll have another board here to support the side, and then this will be wire. Same with the door. The door will be wire, and the very bottom of this will be wire also. So hopefully this will end up giving it plenty of ventilation to keep them cool in summer, but not enough ventilation and it'll keep them warm in winter. So here I'll draw, this is the front, so then I'll draw the side view of it. So what I'm planning is the back. Here's these 2x2s again. This will be 18 inches, and then in the front I'm going to go up to probably about 20. So this will give my roof a little bit of a pitch, and then here will be either one of these boards, or I'll use some more 2x2s for this, and then I'll put my corrugated metal roof on top of that. So on the sides of this is what I'm wanting to do, is take that pallet boards, the flat pieces, and kind of like put them on the sides, and I'm going to like shingle them a little bit so that they'll come down like this and they'll overlap. And you know, this isn't going to look pretty because I'm overlapping it over the current picture, but you know, this will help block the wind and stuff. Not sure what the pattern will look like, but they'll look like shingles, so it would be like a board like here will be the start, the next board will be like this, and then the next board will be like this, and then that'll go on the sides to help protect them from the wind on the side. Alright, so then the back of it will be like this. It'll be 18 inches tall, oops, feet, inches, and 36 inches wide. The whole back of this is what I'm planning on doing that shingling onto to help protect them from the weather and the elements. Hopefully they don't see a lot of weather because they'll be beside that shed and all that fun stuff. And of course I got some leftover landscaping timbers and 4x4s that will end up going down here to form the legs. But total there'll be 3 of these. So that's kind of my game plan going forward. We'll see how it goes. A lot of times when I design my own stuff, I tend to make changes during them. So if I make any changes, I'll stop my time lapse while I'm building, kind of give you guys a heads up of what's going on, how it's going, changes that I'm making. I'm doing all this while all 3 kids are home with me today. The wife made a trip to the library and she had a friend that needed some help, so she went to go help her friend out. So we'll see how this goes with watching the kiddos too. So now we'll go back out to the garage. I'll start tearing down some of the pallets, show you a couple methods that I use, ways that I think work better. It depends on what you're trying to get out of the pallets. I will say I don't have no fancy pallet pry bar to use on this either. So let's go on out to the garage and get started. Alright, so I'm back out here at the garage. Here's a pallet, kind of just how I've got it. You can see the long flat boards, and then these support boards are the ones I'm going to use for the rabbit cage, like I said. And then those long ones will be used for the supports. I'm missing one of my little breaker bars, so I got my big pry bar, which has a little spot for nails. It might be easier just to break the nails off or hammer them in. Got my big hammer that I would use with my little pry bar, but it's missing. And of course just a regular framing hammer. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for some of these. Some of these boards I'm going to try to leave whole, but one of the methods I found, if you don't need super long boards, is with these, is just running your circle saw along through here and through here. Then you don't have to worry about breaking or nails or breaking the boards or anything, and you get a decent sized board still. So let me grab my tape measure. So if we do the cutting method on these, and pull it out. This is one of the non-auto retracting tape measures, so I press the button for it to retract. I don't have to press it to stop it. So your boards are going to be about 18 inches on each of these. So that's a pretty decent sized board. And then this pallet is 4 foot. So I'm going to have to cut some of it off. It's going to be a little bit too long. Or I can just go ahead and start connecting them all together to begin with and have one long board instead of 3 little hutches for the rabbits. I'll figure that out once I get started. But we'll jump into a time lapse here and I'll show you tearing these pallets apart. And while I'm doing this, of course, I'm watching the kids today. So they're out here playing in the leaves. The little one's riding his bike. Of course, he never wears shoes. Doesn't matter what temperature it is outside, he never wants to wear any shoes. But they're out here playing, and hopefully they're good while I work on my projects inside. So let's jump into that time lapse and show me tearing some of these pallets apart. So I finished tearing down my first pallet. You guys can see that's fairly quick. You do have a lot of scrap with this method. As you can tell, I'm losing about 1 inch on every board. So with 3 support beams on this board, I'm losing 3 inches of board. But the benefits I'm getting is I'm not beating myself up trying to get these nails and everything out. And if anyone else has tore apart a pallet before, you'll know how much work it is to actually tear them apart and save the boards without breaking them. Pallets are made not to fall apart, so they tend to be kind of hard. But yeah, so I did get a little wild here. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just going to end up breaking all these off the hammer. Either hammering the nails in or pulling them out. A lot of the nails in here are rusty, so when I go to pull them, the heads are just going to break, so I'm just going to pound them in anyways. But yeah. I'll clean these up. I might show a short time lapse of that, and then I'm going to tear down a couple more pallets so then I can start building some cages, so then you guys can see the cages getting built.